Hey, it's Stephanie Ferrara, your Empowered Creativity Coach. As a Christ-centered business branding coach, I help women in the early stages of their business to develop strong foundations for a thriving, God-driven business. Is that you? I hope it is, because today's show is just for you. Hey, it's Stephanie Ferrara, your Empowered Creativity Coach. I'm so glad you're here today. I'm excited to introduce you to my friend Cheryl Jacobs today. She is a multi-passionate serial entrepreneur. I can't think of any other way to describe it. She is the owner of 10 different businesses over her lifetime. Right now, she has 2 main businesses that she focuses on, as well as a modeling career. She is a pilot. She is a fitness influencer, and all around just amazing woman. And I got to meet her at an event. And man, if you haven't been going to live events, and obviously right now, a lot of us haven't been, but at least in the past, and definitely be planning for them in the future, because there's some really neat connections that you can make when you go to those live events. And some of those become really good friends. And Cheryl is one of those for me. Anyway, I'm just excited for you to meet Cheryl and to hear her story. And I really, truly pray that it inspires you to start now. If you have a dream, if you have been thinking, man, I really want to make this business, or you've just been kind of dabbling on the sidelines a little bit, and it's time to go all in. It's time to just go for it. Let fear be fear. Like, just do it scared, because if you wait until perfection, if you wait until you feel you are 100% ready, then you'll never be ready. And so now is the time, whatever time it is that you are watching this video, now is the time to get started and pursue your dream. So let's hear from Cheryl, because I know she is going to inspire you. Well, hey, Cheryl, thank you so much for joining me today. Why don't you just introduce yourself real quick and tell us about yourself a little, and your business, your businesses, and the people that you serve in your businesses.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me on. I'm Cheryl Jacobs. I have a couple companies that I run. I own kidspartycharacters.com, and we're children's entertainment. We send costume characters and bouncy houses and vending machines to birthdays and special events. And then I'm also a pilot since 2005, and I started eliteflightclub.org, which is private jet charters for business executives. And I'm also creating courses. I'm teaching courses on how to build your own online courses on Facebook as well.
So tell us, and I know this is going to go a little bit kind of into your history, but like, what propelled you into owning your own business? It's not for everybody. It's something that doesn't come naturally for most people, but you just kind of like made it happen early in life. So tell us about that.
I would say what really pushed me to doing it is I was a teenage mom. I had 2 children by 19 with my high school sweetheart. The thing about it though is I was going in college, that we were living in poverty. And if I can tell you some of the crazy things that we used to do just to survive, and going to churches and getting food and crazy things like that. And then the last 8 days before graduation, my car broke down and I couldn't replace it. So I actually hitchhiked to college back and forth to graduate from Kent State in aeronautical engineering with honors, holding a sign going west, going east, 50 miles there and back, 8 days. And so I think my first business was starting out of necessity. I attended a model search with a friend of mine. We drove 3 hours from Cleveland to Columbus, and I ended up getting picked up by 2 modeling agencies. So right out of college, after graduation, I started pursuing modeling, which made my father very angry to go to school for 4 years and graduate. And so I went to LA. I wasn't really crazy about it. I don't like fake people. So I went to New York City because that's where the other agent had picked me up. And I felt like New Yorkers were very straightforward. If they didn't like you, they would let you know. And I struggled. I was going through poverty. I had 2 small babies. And to make everything worse, I was married to an abusive alcoholic. So I was trying to get away from him. I was trying to find a way to get away from him. I ended up landing a very big modeling job, which allowed me to finally move to New York, get away from my ex-husband and take my children to somewhere safe. As I was getting things going, you know, I was going through poverty. I had going through a divorce. I had two small babies. I was only 20 years old, 21. My mother passed away. And then 3 months later, her mother passed away. So now the two biggest women in my life were gone, and I was going through all these other things. I felt like I was having a nervous breakdown. But the one thing that kept me going was my mother was always, you're strong enough, you're smart enough to stand on your own 2 feet, which I took with me everywhere. Even when I was feeling down, I just took those words with me everywhere. And I took some of the money from the modeling contract that I had received, and I started my first business, which was a modeling and talent agency, which I knew nothing about running a business. I just had the drive and to take care of my kids in a way and to provide a good life for them. So that's what really, really propelled me, was all of those events going against me and the words of my mother saying, basically, you can do it.
And I think what I have learned, y'all, I just want you to know, like, really pay attention to what she says, because she has started multiple businesses, not just the one she's running now, but over the years, just, you know, business after business, never giving up. And when we met in 2018 at an event, and I was just blown away by your story and what you had already created. And at that time, you were just launching your newest business, Elite Flight Club. Tell us a little bit about how Elite Flight Club came about, because you haven't even mentioned the pilot in you.
Yeah, after pursuing modeling for many years, I wanted to go back to my love of aviation. I became a pilot in 2005. 2 years ago, I was at a Tony Robbins Business Mastery, and he told a story about how he took a commercial flight, missing the important meeting that he was supposed to go to with the delays and everything. And I had always wanted to be a private pilot, fly private jets. I'm already a private pilot, but I wanted to fly private jets. So I found, being that I've already had started 9 successful businesses, I was like, I'm going to take everything that I've learned on starting all these businesses, and I'm going to start my own private jet charter company. That's how it all came about. As soon as I got back from Business Mastery, I started, and then my partner that I have now, my business partner, found me on Facebook, and he was like, I want to be a part of this. And so now I have my first business partner, because every other business I had started on my own. And I told him no at first. So no, I don't need your help. I'm going to do it myself. But then he kind of proved himself, and we're actually very good friends now to this day. And Elite Flight Club is slowly taking off. Even during the pandemic, it's slowly taking off.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk about that a little bit, because I know shortly before, well, I guess last fall, you launched in London. Is that correct? You went international with Elite Flight Club. When did you do that launch?
I did that launch in October of last October. I created a huge. I had brought in other speakers. I went out there to launch Kids Party Characters international, because I had already franchised it across the US right now to 4 franchises. So I wanted to take it international, and I had business executives out there who were interested in flying private. So I wanted to launch that internationally as well. So last August, I went out there and hosted a huge seminar and brought in 4 other speakers, and it was a great event. I met some amazing business owners, and we just help each other now all along the way.
And then when earlier this year, when basically kind of like most flights were grounded because of the pandemic, you were able to just shift to just do a little bit of a pivot in the cargo, right? Instead of people. Tell us how you adjusted.
Yeah, that happened accidentally. I wasn't expecting, because I have a love for private jets and the Lears and the Gulfstreams and the turboprops and all those. I had people approaching me, because the FAA had grounded most flights anyway. You couldn't really, you couldn't really fly. It was grounded for a while. And I had people start coming to me who wanted to transport masks from China to the US. I had never planned on it. If the epidemic didn't happen, I would have never even ventured into charter flights at all, or cargo flights at all.
I think that's amazing. Because you heard your customer speak, they came to you and said, "Can you do this?" And it was like, I think we can, Yeah. And I think that just speaks to your willingness to really listen to your customers, because you could have said, "Well, no, that's not what I do. Go find somebody else," right? Like that's not what this is. But seeing the need, and seeing not just the need um, of your customers or what they want, but the need, for the country and everything, and being able to, being willing and available to shift to do that. And I think the reason why I'm fascinated by that, just in that on its own, is because I think when the pandemic hit, there was such a panic among entrepreneurs. And you were in that spot where not only an entrepreneur but also related to flights that were grounded, so it's kind of a double whammy, where I think many entrepreneurs were just like, now what do I do, if people can't come in my shop. And you actually had to pivot in both of your businesses, because you did that with them to be able to transport masks and take care of that within your charter company. But then even in kids party characters, you made some adjustments so that kids could still celebrate their birthdays. And so tell us a little bit more about kids party characters, what that business is, and tell us just, how you shifted within that one as well.
What's funny, I started Kids Party Characters 10 years ago, and it wasn't something that I was like, I'm going to work with kids. My kids were growing at that time, and I didn't, you kind of forget how to talk to little kids because you're talking to adults in business all day. And I had an agent, a modeling agent, who was like, will you play Cinderella at a kids party? And I just made a business out of it, and I fell in love with it. And before the pandemic, well, it's starting actually coming back now. We provide costume characters, bouncy houses, vending machines. We send actors to go there and dance with the kids and do games and face painting and balloon animals and things like that. Well, when the pandemic hit, group parties were done. So I would say for the first 2 weeks, my phones and my emails were dead, and I had nothing coming in. And then eventually, after a while, parents started coming to me. They're, please entertain my kids. How can we do this? So the same thing happened with this business. The need for my clients wanting to entertain their kids, we created virtual character visits where we would do, like, princesses would sing songs with them and do story time. We created superheroes would do superhero boot camp with the kids, get them up and moving and things like that. And then my clients started coming to me asking me, well, we're going to decorate the front yard. Can you bring a character to just while our friends and family drive by? So we created the new drive-bys. And those are still going on. We're slowly getting back into parties. All the characters are still wearing masks and everything like that until this completely passes. And it's crazy, because the same thing with these other two parties or packages would not have evolved without the pandemic. I would have never been doing drive-bys. I would have never been doing virtual. And now I can do virtual pretty much anywhere in the world. So it's a way of making extra money that without the pandemic, it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, that's exciting. You've shown us, in both examples with both of your businesses, just how important it is to be flexible and innovative when something kind of goes wrong, right? If you could boil it down to like 3 tips, what tips would you give my audience about how to, like, kind of where they should focus their efforts right now within their business? Like, what are the most important things, those top 3 things, no matter what's going on, that you've got to stay focused on?
I would say the number one thing is find something that you love. When you do something that you love, it's going to energize you to add the most value to people, and you're going to want to keep doing it and doing it and doing it for the love of it. Just like flying or working with children, if if I didn't have to make a living, I would do both of those for free. I love flying. I love working with children right now and seeing their expression when they see their favorite character. So find something you love, because when you find something that you love, it's not going to feel like a job. It's going to be something that you're going to wake up and feel energized to do every single day. The second one, I would say, surround yourself with the right people. There's so many naysayers out there that are going to tell you, you can't do this, you shouldn't do this. You know how many people told me, oh, you're only 5'6", you can't model. You're a girl, you shouldn't be a pilot. You shouldn't be a CEO. If I listened to all of those people, I wouldn't be where I am today. So surround yourself with the right people, because if you surround yourself with the wrong people, it just sucks the energy out of you. So that's definitely number 2. And then number 3, I would say, think big. Build yourself a team. It's always, in the beginning, it's hard because you're wearing all the hats. You're building your email list, you're doing your social medias, you're doing everything you need to grow that business. Eventually find somebody that can do something that's time consuming for you. Like a perfect example is, if it takes you 3 hours to mow the lawn, but but you're getting paid $100 an hour to do your job, why not pay somebody $10 an hour to cut your grass for 3 hours, where you can make $300 versus, your time is money. So that's the number 3 things I would say. Think big, build a team to take care of the smaller things so you can focus on the big picture. Those are my 3 best tips.
That's perfect. I actually just made the decision and sent the email earlier today. Okay, I'm ready to hire a virtual assistant. And we've talked in the past, and I told her, okay, I got to have these kind of things, these 2 things like line up, and then I'll be ready. And I was really ready when we talked before, but I needed to have a couple things lined up. And so now those are lined up. I'm like, all right, let's go. What's my next step to get started with you? Because there are things that I know it's time to pass off. It's taking too long to do a few things. It's like, yep, my time is better spent coaching my clients and working on the programs for them and building that and spending more time within my Facebook groups for my clients and everything than it is on, putting things on Pinterest and doing some research that's going to feed into what I'm doing. But the research time can definitely be done by somebody else. So I'm excited about that. One of the things that I ask all of my guests is, what does it mean to you to let God lead?
I would say that you have to have faith, because without faith, you don't have hope. And as long as you have hope, you're gonna, especially now with what's going on with the pandemic, if you have faith and you have hope, then it's going to pull you through to see the light at the end of the tunnel. That's what I would say.
Very good. Well, what is the best way for my audience to connect with you and see kind of everything that you're doing? Obviously, I will put links in the show notes for your 2 companies, and but what's the best way just to connect with you?
Well, I'm on about 15 social medias, but to find all of my social medias, you can find me on Facebook at Cheryl Elizabeth Jacobs in New York, New York. I'm also on Instagram at Cheryl Jacobs 2017. I would say those, and then LinkedIn, you can find me, Cheryl Jacobs Kids Party Characters, Cheryl Jacobs Elite Flight Club. Those I would say are the top places that you can find me on social medias. And then I'm also a book author, which I've created 5 books on my journey and about my modeling and how to get modeling contracts and how to do start your own business. You can find me on Amazon, CherylJacobs.org, or on Amazon on my author page at Cheryl Jacobs.
That's awesome. So good. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it, and appreciate just all of your tips and you sharing your story. And I hope that really does inspire my audience to just go for it, because, I think for one thing, like, it's never the right time, but it's always the time. Like, you can start anytime. There doesn't have to be a right time. And if you wait until everything and all your ducks are in a row and it's the right time, then you've probably waited 5 years too late to get started.
The learning process is the most important part. You know, the mistakes that you make, it makes you smarter for the next time you're around. Just don't wait for everything to be perfect. Make the
Yeah.
mistakes from it. That's the best way.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Very good. Thank you so much, Cheryl, again, for coming on and for sharing with my audience. I do appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me, Stephanie. It was nice to see you.
Thank you so much for listening today and for being part of the Empowered Creativity Show today. I really hope that Cheryl's story, that Cheryl's experience and her tips really inspire you to go all in on your business dream and just make it happen. You know, find that thing that you love and make it a business, because what you do is there, you're going to help somebody else. So what's fun for you, what's exciting for you, what makes you tick, what gives you energy, maybe something that doesn't do that for somebody else, but they know they need that service, they need that help, whatever it is that you do or that you sell, what you provide. And so be there and see how you can fill the gap for somebody else. I think it's just so much fun. To me, my business is just fun. If you are looking for help in getting your business started, I want to let you know that applications are open for LEAD. LEAD is my 6-month group coaching program where we dive deep into everything that you need to get started in your business, from vision to branding to creating your course or your system that you are going to take your customers through, all the way through to building a website, getting it up there, doing your social media, when to do what, because getting started can be so overwhelming. And so let me help you take the overwhelm out of getting your business started. Or maybe you've been in that overwhelm and frustration for a couple of years and you're ready to finally seek help because what you've been doing hasn't been working. So let me be that help for you. Let me help fill that gap in whatever it is that you've been doing, because it may not be that you've been doing everything wrong. You maybe have done a lot of things right. You're just missing a few key components. So if you're interested, go to empoweredcreativitycoach.com/lead. You can check out everything about the program. It's 6 months of intensive coaching. You got a group of other women in it, so you've got that group that surround yourself with the right people that Cheryl talked about. That's what you get within LEAD as well, is surrounding yourself with people who are all on the same path to build a business. And not everybody in your life understands that mindset, so it is critical to surround yourself with people like that people who understand what it is you're trying to achieve. If you are at all interested, even just slightly, go ahead, check out LEAD at empoweredcreativitycoach.com/lead. Fill out the application. It's no obligation. We'll get on the phone, talk about it some, and make sure that it is right for you. I look forward to seeing your application.